Welcome to the Your Desired Success Foundation Mastermind. We're all about paying it forward with the golden rule, which is do unto others as you would have done unto you. Now, the power of the mastermind, we're learning more about it from the great, not late and great because it wasn't very recent, but great man Napoleon Hill, who's the author of the book Think and Grow Rich, one of the most well-known books of success around the world. When speaking about the power of the mastermind, Napoleon said, "It is the principle through which you may borrow and use the education, the experience, the influence, and perhaps the capital of other people in carrying out your own plans in life. It is the principle through which you can accomplish in 1 year more than you could accomplish without it in a lifetime if you depended entirely upon your own efforts for success." So this is the importance of us coming together and accessing each other's minds. So we've all got our numbers. We're all ready to go and start with the principles with Tony Inman, please.
The purpose of the mastermind is to share our value and connect with like-minded people in order to create wealth in all areas of our lives.
Sorry, we are here to inspire and challenge each other to reach and exceed goals.
Each member is committed to their own success as well as the success of every member of the group.
We are committed to meet in person or virtually for 1 hour every week.
Asking or distractions during meetings.
We are collaborative. We listen without interrupting, lecturing or judging.
We celebrate each other's successes without jealousy.
We are honest and participate by giving thoughtful feedback.
We open and listen to different perspectives without being defensive or offering excuse.
Lisa, are you with us?
Yep, we trust fellow members enough to share fully.
We are focused, but we also think it's important to have fun during meetings.
We are real and authentic. This is a no BS zone.
We allow ourselves to become completely aligned with each other and the high forces, one mind, one soul, one love.
Beautiful. Thank you for setting the tone of that call. There's a little bit of background noise. I'm not sure who it's coming from, but that's all good. So I was curious to know if my mum was going to say BS or actually the whole word, which would have really backfired for her there. So today we've got another powerful topic in particular. And what it is that came up for me today was the end creates the beginning. Now, where I was going with this was I was thinking about it today that when we're working on our goals, when we're going through the whole process of goal setting, and those are just a show of hands from everybody on the call, who's read the book Think and Grow Rich? Yeah, so those of us who have know the importance where Napoleon talks about what we desire and setting out our goals, and then what's the energy exchange we're going to get, we're going to put out there. So the big thing that was coming up for me was we're often very clear on our goals, but we need to know where we are in order to start moving towards them. And it's the same with a GPS. We put in the destination, but what does the GPS first of all have to do? Go right the way back to go, well, where's the starting point? So the big thing that was coming up for me, and I actually did a short post on it today on my Facebook profile. And I'd love to know from each of us in regards to, are you clear on where you want to go? And are you clear on what you have to do from the starting point as to where you're at? So I'll give you an idea and an example. For me, one of my biggest goals this year is to get everything together in regards to my businesses so that I can leave and travel Australia and earn whilst I'm traveling, everything all systemized so that I don't have to be on the road and be constantly on the phone. I can be free and experiencing the true beauty of the land. That was my big goal to achieve by the end of this year. And everything is coming to fruition based on the fact that I was very clear on what services I would provide, but I had to be clear on where I was. So I looked at my businesses and I went, right, okay, well, for that to happen, what needs to shift in all of my different businesses? And then it was a case of figuring out, well, okay, I need to create a training program for this so that the team that's connected to me can leverage that. And that would be the first place they go, because at the moment, the first place they go is straight to me. But if I'm not available on the phone or Facebook because I've got no signal, they're not going to get the support that I would like to give them. So it was actually then figuring out, this is where I am. So I'd love to hear from any of you, especially in regards to the topic, the end creates the beginning, what you can think of in your life right now, or certainly if you've planned out your goals, anything that's coming up for you. And you're more than free to go and wing it. Just put your hand up when you want to speak and just go for it. Lisa, out the gate.
Out of the gate and running. How apt is this discussion this morning or today at this time? I've recently just, for the first time ever, created a 12-month project. I'm not a big on goals. I've got some paradigms around goals, but the project is so powerful. And I did start with the end in mind. I was told to, look at what did I want to earn, what was all that, and I didn't have any of that, but I had a vision that was very, very clear, and no idea how I was going to get there. And it was only as I started to work back and started to look at everything in a logical sequence, which isn't me at all, that it all came together. And I looked at it and I went, oh my goodness, this is so doable. This is so doable. So it's been really powerful for me. Like I say, I'm good with the vision. I'm not good with plans, but for some reason, having a project has excited me in a way that a goal or a plan never has done. So I've followed a similar structure before now, but it hasn't given me what I needed to move forward. I mean, structurally it did, but in here it didn't draw me forward. But what it's done is it's actually helped me really assess where I am right now. And that has been really, really powerful to go, okay, let's look at this hard. And it was hard, tell me it was hard. But to be able to actually really sit down and say, all right, this is where I am. This is where I want to go. And this is all I have to do to get there. And it just suddenly made everything look easy, instead of, oh yeah, it's a dream. It's like, yeah, okay. And what that has done, it has shifted my whole sense of purpose. Absolutely shifted everything about me. For the first time in years, I now have my definiteness of purpose. And anybody who's read Think and Grow Rich or Outwitting the Devil will understand that I'm being driven. I had 4 nights last week. I didn't sleep more than 10 hours over the whole 4 nights. I was awake all night. It was coincided with a full moon. But I was awake all night just working on this project. Not because I had to, but because I had so much inside me that just needed to get out and on paper or on the computer. And so for me, actually having that vision and taking the time to create it as a project, as a plan, and assess where I am has just been phenomenal. It's, yeah, and everything's happening so quickly. I can't keep up. Well, I can keep up with it. It's like, wait for me. So this is a beautiful conversation, and I'm really looking forward to hearing other people's perspectives. Thank you, Martin.
That's awesome, Lisa. And just before actually I got on this call, about half an hour before, I actually had a call with Lisa, and she showed me the plan. And I have to say, it's just absolutely incredible. And I resonate because I don't like to sit down and take the time to plan. See you in a bit. Take the time to plan, even though I know the importance of it. But once I've created it, it's like, wow. And then figuring out what areas I can do, what needs outsourcing. So yeah, it was awesome to go through that. And thank you for sharing it with us as well, Lisa. Who else would like to share in regards to where they're at, what they saw, knowing where they're at, and what they're doing to make that become to fruition? Go on, Mum.
For me, it was beginning of this year when I realised I was getting my state pension, and I thought, "Oh, if I can't carry on working physically, so I need to get my act together, because in my 80s and 90s, I don't want to be dependent on my boys, or them deciding which nursing home I'm going to go in. That's a bigger frightening one. So I decided I needed to get the finances together now to enable me to pick my own nursing home, or my finances pick my own nursing home. And I know that might sound a bit weird, but there isn't, I want to go out and I want to enjoy myself. But the main plan was to make sure that I was secure financially, so my boys didn't have to worry or anything. So then I had to come back to, what do I have to do now to make that happen in the future? And it certainly gave me a massive, I haven't got a kind of a plan like Lisa has. I'm doing it in stages, in goals, like my journey on the sat-nav would be. So to reach certain levels in my business, and that has certainly motivated me to where I'm going to end up, has motivated me from where I've got to start. So yeah, so I feel it's really, really made me wake up, smell the coffee and get my act together. And yeah, it's been exciting, and it still is exciting. So yeah, so that's me.
Martin, you're not too big to be put over and Nina spanked, all right?
You're right, Lisa, but I'm at a safe distance.
I've just read it. I thought you'd put something up, but I wasn't going to be put off. So
one of the
yes,
things
don't
that
worry,
we've worked
darling.
on with my mum is when she's doing Facebook Lives, her ability to stay engaged in what she's communicating rather than getting distracted by people and comments and the coming up. So I was interested in me doing it, seeing if she got distracted. There was a purpose behind it, but anyway. Good to see you, Julian. I think that's the first time we've seen your face, by the way. Handsome bugger from France. Look at that. Hey. Who would like to go next and share? Don't hold back.
I can. Hello?
Yeah, buddy.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, cool.
Good. My goal for this year is to start to essentially develop some ongoing income. So outside my job, the idea is to, I think, in a lot of different circumstances, we're all in the same place. We want to be more financially independent, so we can actually pursue our own goals. So I got to meet someone who will change my perspective on a lot of things a few months ago. And now I'm essentially learning from him, and the key point for me at this stage is grow my mindset, because we all know that the mindset has a big impact on whatever we do, and how we get influenced has an impact on our behavior and what we do and our actions. So I think at this stage, to develop this ongoing income, the key focus for me is to develop my mindset.
That's awesome, buddy. That's cool. What are you, with regards to your ongoing mindset development, what are you doing for that in particular? What areas?
Reading a lot. To be honest, the only thing I was reading before was sports news, which are awesome, but they don't really bring you anything in your life outside being happy that your team won the night before. So reading has been a big thing for me. Read a few books the last few months, which didn't happen in the last 15 years. So yeah, pretty happy about that. And for me, everyone has a different way to learn. Some people prefer writing, some prefer chatting with people. For me, reading has been quite an eye opener, because reading has this capacity to, if we are like 10 in this room and if we read the same paragraph, we might have 10 different visions, because of our reading is actually impacted by our own experience. So enable you to travel at your own pace, but still travel sitting at the same place, because we're in Victoria, so we can't move anywhere. So yeah, essentially reading has been a big one. Listening podcasts and audio, but also I think one of the key things I'm trying to work on right now is my influence. So that's why I'm trying to get into people and get in contact and more connection with people that I want to become, like more positive people, because you're heavily influenced by the people you gather with. And if you, no offense, but if you hang out with only lazy people, you're gonna at some point become somehow lazy. If you gather with energetic people, somehow it's gonna impact you. So on and so forth. So I'm trying to think about the person I want to become. That big goal, but I have all my life to work on it, so I'm just starting.
That's powerful, mate. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, thinking about the person I want to become, that's a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There was
that's
an
awesome.
eye-opener like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Someone told me, don't think about the person you were. Don't think the person about you are. Think about the person you want to become. Wow.
Mm. But then you do have to go back to figure out the person that you are in order to be able to grow in those areas as well,
True.
which is the whole
True.
topic. Yeah.
True.
That's cool. And good work on shifting through as well. I mean, Julian and we're both big Liverpool fans, so we obviously follow the good sports and stuff. Well, maybe not after the result of the weekend, but anyway.
That was big. Yeah.
That shift that takes place, and I can relate in regards to when I look back to some of my best mates in England. I can still go into a pub or catch up with them and still have a great conversation, but they're still talking about the football news and playing cards and stuff, which is fine, but it's just like, to me, it's limiting in regards to what we're here to do as human beings. So I don't mind that in moderation, but that, like, life evolves around that for them, and that's cool. That's where they're at. But when I'm able to go back, or even when I listen to them talking, it's amazing to see how much I've shifted and grown and become the person that I wanted to be, really. And becoming the person that I want to be. So, because we've never fully achieved self-mastery. Anybody who believes that needs a checkup from the neck up. Thanks, Julian.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Go for it, Tony.
Just had to unmute myself there. Well, obviously, I've stopped reading the sports papers after the way Man United have been playing lately. Yeah, what I was just going to add is that I have a policy of rigid flexibility. So back at the beginning of this year, I've always been a goal setter, but back at the beginning of this year, I set these amazing plans for the whole new decade. And then COVID happened. So I'm a great believer in not just, setting your goals or looking ahead and having those goals and then going back to where you are and working forwards from there. You've also got to keep reevaluating it, because just when you think you've got everything planned out, life throws you some curveballs. And interesting, as I mentioned to you in a conversation this afternoon, I had the realization from everything that's impacted on me with discovering Noble Goldman and refocusing back onto that whole goal setting process, that a couple of the goals that I had that were relevant at the time that I set them suddenly don't seem as important anymore. They're not actually now part of where I now want to modify where I'm heading. So there was a course of study that I'd begun, and I'm realizing that obviously it's going to take a chunk of my time to follow that through. And everything that's happened has sort of made me reevaluate and go, well, hang on, why was I actually doing that again? It was still worthwhile and relevant, but the study that I'm putting into this and how I can develop my the skills that I want to add on for creating the kind of lifestyle that I want, using Noble Goldman as a platform for it now, that's made me reevaluate what skill sets I need and what training I need, and therefore my time is so valuable. Time is probably our biggest, most important resource. Then I need to put it back into the right areas. So it really goes against the grain to have to quit on something that I've started, but I now see that it's not relevant to me as it was when I began it. Circumstances have changed that.
Thanks for sharing, Tony. Yeah, we had a great call this afternoon around that. I've just made a note of what you said, the rigid flexibility. And it's interesting, you said, like, especially when you think of how many people would have started the year with New Year's resolutions or goals for the year. And, you know, when we look back to Jim Rohn, don't start the day until you've finished it. Don't start the week until you've finished it, the month till you finished it, the year till you finished it. Very few could have predicted. I'm going to say very few because there's different theories, but very few could have predicted what was going to happen this year. And it is, how do we adapt? That shows the character of the person. What's the communication we have with ourselves? What's the communication we have outside of it? And even when people were wanting to talk to me about it or venting about it, I was like, I'm not giving it any energy, whether it be positive or negative. All that I am in control of is me. What I do on a daily basis, that's all I'm in control of. So it's not going to become my reality, and just closed it off. And it wasn't through being naive, just what can I do? And it was interesting how I mentioned earlier on the goal to travel Australia. Granted, the borders might be closed, but there's still a hell, like WA is one of the biggest states in the world. So you look and you go, there's a lot of land to cover in WA. A lot of it may be red dirt, but there's a lot of land to cover. And looking at that angle of it, COVID in a way was another thing that like really cemented what I was doing, as in, this is why you need to be doing what you're doing right now, because you're building an online businesses. You're structuring your businesses that will be able to adapt with the changes that are happening based on AI technology. I'm not sure if we spoke about it yesterday around companies, or it might have been Ancha's call, where they said companies aren't around anymore for 40 years. You don't come out of school thinking of going and joining a company and retiring and getting a gold watch. It isn't happening. Tony.
Yeah, I was just going to add that, you know, one of my biggest goals every year is to go on an international holiday. And we had a trip planned this year to go America, Canada, Alaska in June. And obviously that all fell in a heap. And then Bali in August. Thank goodness it didn't happen, because the Alaskan part would have been a cruise through the Alaskan passages. Imagine being stuck on a cruise ship in Alaska when COVID went down. But what it did instead is it made both my wife Jo and I go on a journey within. So we started doing a lot more reading, a lot more watching positive motivational YouTubes. And when I picked up my reading rate to the point where I'm reading a book a week now, it's just been a massive impact in terms of reevaluating, okay, I can't go elsewhere to where I want to go. So what's the journey within, and how am I going to learn, turn this into a real positive for this year?
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for sharing, Tony. Apologies. I've got a dog that wants to come in, wants to go out, wants to come in, wants to go out. He thinks he's a yo-yo. So, Lisa, did you want to share?
If I can, sorry, Martin, but hats down to Tony. I think it's beautiful behavior and mindset to think that we can all grow and learn, even if we're stuck. I mean, some of you are not, but it's not because we're physically stuck that we actually can't evolve. And personally, I've grown more the last few months than maybe the last year in terms of mindset. So hats down to you, Tony. Would be curious to see, to know what you read. One book a week is amazing. But good on you.
Yeah, go for it, Veronica.
I joined Tony's Mastermind this year because it was time to start setting some goals again. I've had a mixed relationship with them. Sometimes I've reached them and it's been like, so what? It's like there's no feeling behind it, which has kind of made me think that it's not so much about, the goal is great, but it is about the journey, and it's who you become when you get there. So I'm focusing more about what I actually want to become rather than an actual physical monetary goal. And it's actually produced some opportunities that I had no idea would come up, but they've just appeared, and it's like, yeah, that feels right, so I'm going to run with that. So yeah, the rigid flexibility, sticking with what's important to me and what my values are to come make decisions.
Yeah, that's powerful. Thanks, Veronica. And obviously with working with Tony there, I know when I first worked with Tony, that was the first thing we started on was values. And it's amazing how many people aren't clear rather on the values and are setting goals that aren't aligned with the values, and therefore they don't achieve them because it's there's no value there that's aligned with them as individuals. Really interesting, the values one as well. We've had some good discussions around values over the past few months, different ways. And I know we posted an exercise in the Your Desired Success group, Lisa, didn't we, around that? Yeah, with whose was it? Dr. John DeMartini's.
Yeah, DeMartini.
That was a powerful one. So, yeah, thanks for sharing, Veronica. And once again, another one working on self, like Julian. Yeah. Would we all agree that we all have room to work on self? Anybody want to share? Look at Lisa. Does that mean you don't need to work on yourself, or there's no room for it?
Oh, I've got it sorted, mate. I've got it sorted. Every time I think I've got it sorted, life shows me very clearly that there's still more work to do. And I work on the theory that once I've got it, I'm out of here, because our whole purpose of being here is to keep learning. So once I stop learning, if we're not growing, we're dying. So once I stop growing and stop learning, then I'm out of here.
I read somewhere that if you, sorry, I had this. The more you know, the more you realize that you don't know much.
Yeah. The more, I think, is it the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know as much as you thought you knew.
Sorry about the word.
Yeah, it's down that road, but yeah, it's spot on. Yeah.
The more you learn, the less you know.
There you go.
Yes.
That was better. Yeah.
And what was the saying that Bruce Lee said? Wasn't there a saying about Bruce Lee said that I can only teach you what I know based on what you're willing to let go of? Tony, you must know.
I can only remember Bruce Lee saying that piece of wood was harder than I thought it was.
Yeah, I'm sure Bruce Lee had said, I can give you my knowledge, but first you've got to be willing to let go of yours. Something like that. When you think about the power of that, how many people aren't willing to actually open their mind? On one of my presentations that I do, I actually start with a slide from Wayne Dyer where he says, oh crikey, I've actually just forgotten what I was going to bloody say. I swore. Sorry, mother. It's the B one can go. What's he say? It'll come back to me, but it's basically about you need to have a mind that's open to everything and attached to nothing, something like that. So that straight away I'm setting this thing that if you're going to come here and you're going to listen to what I'm going to share with a closed mind, nothing else, nothing I'm saying is ever going to get in. You're going to leave here believing that what you were told before is gospel and that what I'm saying is a load of rubbish. But what happens if what I'm saying is the truth? What happens if what you know is the truth and what I'm saying is a load of rubbish? But if you don't let it seep in, I know how much my beliefs have changed over the years. Like the beliefs that I had, I've actually got to a point, even one of the most controversial for a lot of people, depending on where they sit, is around God. You know, and for me, I was brought up a Catholic. My mum's Italian, so you can imagine how deep the Catholic side of it goes. And yet, for me, I was to believe, you know, God's this man, and that's fine. I'm not saying that God isn't. But what I've come to believe for me is God's everything. God's everyone and everything around, and certainly nature. So I had a massive shift. And one of my mum, a guy who I did my carpentry and joinery time with when I learnt my trade, a good friend of my mum's, he's die-hard Catholic. So when I'm saying stuff like this, he can't fathom it. It doesn't make sense to him. And it's not that either of us is right or wrong. It's what's right for us, what our beliefs are. But that was the biggest one that shifted for me. And I started talking, and a lot of that was inspired by Wayne Dyer. And it felt right hearing this person and getting new information. And that's the thing. It wasn't a logical decision. It was in here. which helped me evolve.
I think
Bit
it
off
was
topic,
Wayne Dyer also said, I think it was him anyway, the mind is like a parachute, no use unless it's open.
Anybody else like to share whatever's coming up? What's across any of the conversation? Yeah, Lynette?
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Martin, being brought up a Catholic and the way we were brought up and listening, especially listening to Wayne Dyer, just made me look at the whole thing completely different. And had I not been open to listen to Wayne Dyer and open to listen to the other people, I don't think I would be appreciating and enjoying life like I am, because I'm understanding more why things are happening and understanding where I stand in whatever's happening. And yeah, Dave doesn't get it. My husband doesn't get it. He definitely thinks I've lost the plot, but that's fine. Don't have a problem there. But yeah, it is amazing once you start opening your mind, and especially this year in lockdown, having the time, being forced to stay in and have the time to read the books, listen to the audios, not get distracted. Amazing. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, thanks, Mum. Lynette?
I just wanted to share around goal setting.
Yeah,
That's nothing. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you were really quiet and then it went really loud, so it's all good.
All right, I'll just move my computer closer.
Oh, we can see your beautiful face better now, Lynette. Good on you.
I was trying to hide. Yeah, I grew up in a family where goal setting wasn't a thing. And for me, it's something that's really hard to be able to start. Like I set goals, but yeah, I have trouble implementing them. And at the moment, I'm part of a 90-day run, I suppose. And in that, it start with the end in mind. Where do you want to end up, and break it down? But I still have like trouble, you know, I know what I need to do, but I guess it's just a bit of doing the implementing and yeah, just like getting myself focused around like what I need to do to get to where I want to be. And also, I suppose that's where your vision really comes in, that Lisa was saying with her project. She really understood, or her vision is really clear to her. Yeah, so that's where I sort of sit with goals and projects.
Just out of curiosity, Lynette, have you done the setup in the NG thing with the life purpose, vision and the goals yet?
I did do the DeMartini one that you must have done on a call a couple of weeks ago that I missed. I did that values one, but no, I haven't. Is that in the back office, is it?
Yeah. So
okay.
It's when you're creating your profile, there's a video all about creating your life purpose. And one of the things that's explained in there is that and the actual image that's associated with the life purpose is, and this is for everyone, is actually a lighthouse. And if you think about what a lighthouse is for, it's to shine a light out so the captain of the ship can see where the land is. But it's not the exact point where you're going to, it's just a guide. So the vision of the life purpose in NG is to help give you a guide of where to go. You know, and that's the thing. I know I was watching Apollo 13 for the first time the other day. I don't know, I've not watched it before. But obviously, as they're in space based on the movie, they're aiming for Earth. But as they get closer, there's a certain area they need to make sure they're going to. So, but they're still aiming for that particular area. And once it goes through there, Lynette, it then goes into your affirmations, your goals. And I've found that in all the years that I've been doing goal setting, like Veronica, you had mentioned it earlier on around goal setting and stuff. In all the years I've been doing it, I've never found such an easy way to do it that aligns with me. It's not the people I've worked with or how I've been doing it, that aligns with me, and also that gives me the ability to see it so clearly and log in and check in and add the productivity to make sure I'm actually working towards achieving them, rather than thinking I'm doing the work to achieve them. So it's been a big one. I'd really encourage you, because it's free. I'd really encourage you to just take the time to access that, because you might find it really helps you in the 90-day program as well you're doing. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes.
Just like when I found when I started filling in the parts of the abundance game there, when you actually have to relate the activity to a specific goal, then it really makes you think, hang on, what actually am I working for here? What is this? What purpose is this serving? Although I do think, as I mentioned to you this afternoon, that it should have the capability of having like a drop-down box where you can select several options. So I was giving the example to Martin this afternoon. If, like, say for instance, if I go out to walk the dog with my wife Jo, we might spend an hour doing that. Well, in that hour, we're out there getting exercise. We're also appreciating nature. We're also having conversations where we're working on our relationship. We're also goal setting and, discussing our ideas and our goals and so on. So you're combining all of those things in the one activity, which obviously makes sense from a time leveraging point of view if you can do several things at once. Because like I said before, time is your most important asset.
We'll put that forward to Mark.
I actually just with that, Tony, on mine, I just put the goal. So if I do what you've just said, I will go in and I've done an hour of exercise. I've done however long I spent doing affirmations, because that's when I do my affirmations. I've spent whatever. So that 1 hour will show up on all those different things.
And that's how you end up with 48 hours in one day.
But it doesn't matter, does it? I've done 1 hour of exercise because that's towards my goal. I've done 30 minutes of affirmations towards my goal. It doesn't matter how long whether I've done it all separately or what. I've done that bit of my goal. Yeah, I've taken those steps towards my goal. So I don't look at it as, I've done an hour's exercise. I didn't do my affirmations. Where do I put those? I've done my affirmations. It doesn't matter how much time I've spent, whether I've done it at the same time as I've done something else. Because what it shows on the time thing, it shows I've spent an hour doing exercise. It shows I've done 30 minutes doing that. It doesn't say, you've spent so many hours today doing whatever. It just shows how much time I've spent on each one of those.
Yeah. My parents used to have a saying about taking a broom with you and you could sweep the floor at the same time.
Yeah. But it's never occurred to me to do it any other way. It's just like, okay, I went for a walk. That was an hour. I did an hour's affirmations because I do mine when I'm walking. Visualization I often do while I'm doing my affirmations. So yeah, they all go down. I log them all separately on mine.
And this is one of the things that I was talking to. I believe I had a conversation with Tony, then straight with Lisa. So there was so much value shared on the calls that we had. One of you I was talking about cheating the universe. Can you remember who I was talking to?
Yeah, you
Tony. And whether we believe in the universe or not, it's just where we're at. And I certainly do, especially because the next thing that we are shifting into in regards to some of the deeper training that we do on the other mastermind calls is around the universal laws. And we're really going to dive deep and we're going to get a clear understanding how we're going to be implementing them into our lives, because every person that has achieved success based on the success that we'd say in society, but certainly people who I align with, like Bob Proctor, Earl Shove, Tony Robbins, Napoleon Hill, all these different people, they're all talking about the laws of the universal laws. And I've heard it countless times, but it's never really connected. So one of the things that we're going to do now that we've just finished the book, which was an audio that we went through of Outwitting the Devil, which is a fantastic audio and book. We're now shifting into the universal laws. And what I had said to Tony was, a lot of us, we are cheating ourselves and therefore cheating the universe. And the universe is always watching us. So when we make these things of, especially with what we just said, then this tool where we're checking in and adding, well, today, one of my goals is to get my body in great shape and eat well. Well, if I went to the gym and I did an hour and I go and put 90 minutes, I'm cheating the universe. And therefore, the universe is looking at me and going, well, if you're cheating me, I'm going to cheat you. Like literally like that, whether you believe it or not. And this really then starts to create that accountability towards self. Well, what am I actually doing? How am I showing up? If I wish to achieve that goal, what am I doing authentically to achieve it? And am I being honest throughout the whole process based on the value I'm giving? Because it's all based on the universal law of giving and receiving. So therefore, what I'm putting out there, I'm going to receive something back. And I mean, Lisa and I spoke about this in regards to some people, they give in order because they want something back. But when you're giving without attachment, but you're giving from a place of service and authenticity, the universe will reward you rather than expecting it back. It might not be when you want it, but it'll be when you need it, because we don't get what we want, we get what we need. And that's one of the hardest pills to swallow in many cases. And that was one of the, when Tony and I were talking about it, the importance of being true to self throughout the whole process. And that's why, a lot of people I've found over the years when we're doing stuff, they want accountability buddies and they rely on other people, and that's fine. But like Lisa said a couple of weeks on a call, most people will have honesty as one of the highest values, but guarantee that they've been dishonest to themselves throughout their life. And therefore, honesty is not a highest value. Like, we judge it based on what fits in society and the way that we like to be towards people. But are we really honest with ourselves all the way through? And I'm proud enough to say, I'm not honest with myself all the way through. But that's part of the human experience. Yes, Tony?
I was just going to add, there's another aspect to it as well. And I completely agree with what you're saying. I also think that sometimes just people allow life to get in the way. And particularly, it's a big reason why people don't achieve their New Year's resolutions, is that they come up with this, this is what I'd like to achieve, but it's more of a wish than a goal. Because if you don't put some kind of plan to help make it happen, it's just going to blow away like the tumbleweed, and that's why a lot of people get to the end of January and they've got nowhere near any of the New Year's resolutions that they'd set. What this does is it enables you to keep going back and refocusing on those goals. So every time when you're logging in and you're looking at it and you're reminding yourself, well, why is this important to me? What is it going to mean to me when I actually achieve it? So you're really giving yourself a much better chance of leveraging your own emotional power by tapping into all the emotions, if you can see the goal, if you can imagine what it's like, if you can hear the sounds that it will be surrounding that goal, if you can feel what it's like, the sun on your face, the breeze on your face, whatever, the more you can bring all the senses into bear on it, and having a picture there as well of what that is, and then having the affirmations of what it's going to feel like to have achieved that goal and how it's going to have impacted on your life or the lives of the people around you that are important to you, then you're really loading the game in your favor. So it's really a great tool from the point of view, just keeping those goals front of mind and not letting them just drift away into the background.
Yeah, I'd love to hear from anybody who's not spoken yet. Thanks for sharing there, Tony. Go for it, Adam, and Trudy next. Yeah.
Yeah, so I did some work on the what we were talking about before. I think who was it? Lynette. I think I was talking, or you were talking to Lynette about the Goldman, about the life purpose. So I did some work on that the other day, actually, and it did help articulate the life my life purpose of, I guess, the goal. And to encapsulate that is to help good people, help other good people feel great about themselves. And there's a lot of little goals along the way that I'm developing and putting together and achieving to that main purpose. But that is the main goal. And then there's all these other little ones that I'm working on that, and it's as simple as turning up on these calls each Thursday. And there may be some snippet of something that I share that may help someone else think about what they're currently doing, and help them in an area where they may be feeling stuck. And I do find, going back to we were talking before about working on self, and these calls on a Thursday night are a great example of that, where little topics come up where you think, like values, and think, oh yeah, well, I haven't worked on them for a while. So you go back and you look over your values again, reassess where you are, because you do them, and then you think they're set, and then you leave them. But I think it was important on one of the calls to reevaluate them every 30 to 60 to 90 days, because they do change, as Tony's mentioned too. It's got to be flexible, and we need to change with things that can come across in life, like COVID. We set out with a plan, but things can turn things in a 360. So with the beginning, looking at the end, what was it? The end creates the beginning. For me, it's looking at that purpose of helping people. And I know if I help people, and the more people I can help, is that the end will be that my cup will be filled.
That's beautiful, Adam. Yeah. And I think Darren Hardy said that there was a study done. Out of 100 people that would come to your funeral, you'd be lucky if 5 cried. Out of 100 people, you'd be lucky if 5 people cried. So the question then was, how do you make people feel? Like, you think around the way that we behave in life, and what you just said there, Adam, about going out there and being of service to others. Would it be like really powerful to, I think somebody set a task to a group of people and said, write, is it called your obituary? Is that what you
yeah, it's called your obituary, and there's a really good exercise to do which helps you understand what impact you want to make, and that is to write your eulogy or your obituary from the perspective of 3 different people. So somebody, a family member, a friend, and a work colleague, because they all see different sides of you. And write it as though you actually want it, not how you think it would be, at how you would like it to be at the end of your life. And the best way I do it is I look at what impact do I want that person? Why is that person standing up, telling the world what impact I made on them as an individual? And what you'll find is when you do all 3, there'll be a theme that runs through it. And it's a very clear way of identifying actually what it is you want to do. What is the impact you want to make? And if you want to go one further, this is a DeMartini one, this next one, it's to write, imagine it's a national Martin Ball Day, International Martin Ball Day. And we're talking 200 years from now. Why do we have an International Martin Ball Day? What impact did he make on the world? But it's so important that it's recognized 200 years or more from now, because generally we're only remembered 2 generations. Yeah, so that's a really powerful exercise. But do the 3 obituary one or the eulogy ones first, because that's the other one's a huge jump. But if anybody wants some help with that, let me know.
That's a cracker, that, Lisa. I quite like the tone of that, Martin Ball Day. And we can play You'll Never Walk Alone as well in Manchester.
And Trudy. Martin, Old Trafford will be renamed as Martin Ball Stadium.
Trudy.
I've just been sitting here listening, and at the beginning when you sort of said, put the end in, what's the way you were saying, I'm just sort of sitting here like, many years ago, I kind of set this goal and said, you know, like, yeah, when I'm 55, that's it, I'm not going to work again. Well, come the age of 55, circumstances, the universe kept saying, what are you doing working? So I haven't worked for 3 years. But I kind of need to, update that a bit more somewhere else. But yeah, I guess it did happen to me once.
Yeah. And what would you say that is a sign of to you?
That the universe works for me. That, obviously goal setting can work. I guess it was a goal, you know, it was just I put investments together and said, you know, like, this should, you know, be good for me at 55, but financially it didn't. And it's not a monetary thing. It's a lifestyle for me.
Yeah, and you shared it last week on the call in regards to how much you enjoy being in India and like a new life in a way. And that's even when I set the thing of I'll be retired, not sat in a rocking chair doing nothing, but I'll be retired at 40. I remember my mates going, whatever, you know, dreamer, because the conditioning is 65, you retire. And I'm like, no, 40, I'll be retired. And I'll still be doing what I want to do, but I won't be dictated on what I'll be doing. And it's like, I would never, I mean, for one, I can say right now, my mum's obviously on the call. I for never one thought I would leave England. If anyone was going to do it, it would have probably been my brother. So I was the one that left. And I never thought ever that I would want to go camping or traveling around and spending time in nature. And here I am packing everything up and going off to, and I'm talking now living indefinitely in a caravan and traveling around and camping and four-wheel driving. That's all I want to do. And yet it's got it in December, on December the 8th, just so you all make a note of this, you can put it in your 3 takeaways for my birthday for card and present. And remember, Martin Ball Day will be December the 8th as well. It's rolling here. That I'll be 40, and the plan is the first week of January, all being well of everything being done on the vehicle and the caravan, we'll be out of here. Like that in itself is just incredible when you think around what you create and what you put out there, what's aligned. And that was 5 years ago I said that.
Yeah, well, just recently I had a conversation with a girlfriend and she informed me I couldn't get the pension until I was 67. So I thought, you know, that's a long way away. So now I have to have a new plan my plan is not to get the pension, but my next plan is, to be financially freedom so I don't have to get the pension at 67. So that's my new end.
Yeah, fantastic. Good work, Trudy. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else who hasn't spoken yet? Come on, Petra. Right in the middle of my screen. Come on, beautiful.
Goals make me really uncomfortable, I have to say. And I think that's possibly due to the fact, and this is sort of things that are coming up listening to you all talk, is probably the belief in myself to achieve the goals. And I think, Tony, you said about don't let life get in your way. And that's something that I've probably done a lot of, and just fluff about and get distracted by other things. And, you know, I have set some goals over the years and achieved them, but pretty much I can set a goal and then I've forgotten about it a week later. So, I'd really like to do the abundance game. And the last couple of months, things have really shifted for me, and I'm getting a bit more clarity, which is really good. But I have been quiet because it's just a topic that makes me really uncomfortable, and I think it just brings it up that I have to face. I don't know. So, but I mean, I've got visions that I'd like to achieve, and I've got notes everywhere. So I've kind of like, someone said something and it's like, I'll write that down, and then, yeah, I've gone on to the next thing. But yeah, I think it's just been a huge thing that just not having that belief in myself to actually achieve my goals. I kind of like set a goal and think, okay, well, I'm not going to achieve it, so then kind of what's the point? Yeah.
Go, Julian. Thanks for sharing, Petra. Julian just said he wanted to share.
Just a quick thing, Petra. I had, when I was younger, the same challenges with goals. Someone gave me the small advice to actually start with smaller goals. So instead of, I don't know, I'm going to work out 6 days a week, which, let's be honest, is not going to happen. I'm going to try to, for the first week, once or twice. And then you do this for maybe 2 or 3 or 4, I don't know, maybe 6 months. So that, and then when you get comfortable with twice a week, then you try to go to 3 times a week. I don't know if your goal is fitness, but it could be, I don't know, you want to travel 160 countries. Well, it's not going to happen as in 1 year. So you go step by step. And or if you want to read, you're not gonna be like someone on the call, I guess, Tony, like reading a book every week, but maybe you start with 5 minutes or 10 minutes a day. I think starting with smaller goals has helped me. So actually, when you achieve those smaller goals, it actually builds your confidence. So you're actually more kind of armed to tackle bigger goals, whatever they are.
That's that's actually a really good point, because it is something that if I want something, I want it all, and I want to have it done. So that is just that's really helpful. Yeah, thank you. Yep.
Hey, Petra.
And the last thing, the second thing, if I can, if you forgot what was the goal last week, don't worry, it's probably not really important, to be honest.
True. Yep. Thanks, Julian. Yep.
You're welcome.
Petra, do you have a goal to turn up here each week?
That's actually, yes, I do. And yeah. Well, I can get so insular and not want to. I can be a bit like, what is it, the ostrich in the sand or whatever. I run away from things. So this is actually a big thing for me, being here, and it's daylight savings, and it's even later. And when I thought, 8:30, and but I'm determined. Easy
to opt out. So well, good for you. Well done.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, fantastic. Well done, Petra. And I know there's a few people that are like that, and I really just want to cement this, because I know we've come to the hour mark. I really do want this to hit home with each and every one of you, that there is no judgment, there is no expectation, there is nobody on this call that's any better than anybody else. We are all equal. We are just vibrating at different levels at different times. And somebody who we may even look at and go, this person brings so much value onto this call, and they've done all this work and invested in themselves, they could be having a bit of a challenge that day, and just showing up on the call helps them come up. So please don't any of you feel that you don't have a purpose to be here, because every single one of us does. Every single one of us brings incredible value, even if you just sit there and listen. The energy from you being in this is helping it all come to what it actually is, which is just incredibly beautiful. And every single one of us, I know, gains so much, because if we didn't, we wouldn't keep coming back. So please, please, please give yourselves a tap on the shoulder, whatever, pat on the back, whatever you call it, a rub and a cuddle if you want to. You can kiss yourself, I don't mind. This is, send ourselves love and appreciation and gratitude, because us being here on this call is, I know Lisa actually shared this to us and said, when she initially thought about it, it was like, it's another hour out of my day. But Lisa had shared, and you're more than welcome to share, Lisa, she said, if I don't come on these calls, I'm not as productive the rest of my day. These calls truly send me off. And that isn't just because of Lisa showing up. That's a big part of it, but it's because of each one of us choosing to show up and share as well. So.
Absolutely. everybody that's on this call, and every call is different because different people show up and are in a different space each time that they show up. So that offers something different. But you know, guys, these calls, these are the Gold Star calls, they are my fuel. They really are my fuel. They're what allows me to move forward so easily, because you reinforce my belief in myself, and just really, really help me. So yeah, thank you to everybody. And this is I can't imagine missing. If I'm ever not on one of these calls, you know, something serious has happened, because this is too important to me not to be on. I just get way too much. I get far more than I give from this. So thank you, all of you.
So obviously some of us are already in NG, and as I said, it's free to access anyway. And I think anybody who's wanting to personally grow, move forward, achieve things would be absolutely balmy to not access it. But would everybody feel confident in setting the goal to go in, access the abundance game, which is basically the game of life, and at least put in, if you've not already, at least put in one goal and one affirmation? Would everybody feel that that's a realistic goal for them between now and a week away? So I set you the
Trudy,
task.
I've sent you the link. Trudy, I've sent you the link. We'll talk afterwards.
So if you've not got it, just let me know. We can sort it out. But it's free to access. It's a tool that's designed to help every single one of us. And I personally can't stress enough how much I've grown, what I've achieved over that time, the relationships, the connections, the way that I'm thinking, everything that's shifting around me because of the clarity and the desire, as well as the clear, defined action that's being taken every day. So I'd really encourage you. So this time in week next week, if you don't show up on the call next week, I'll be questioning. So I'll take a picture of you all and I'll know who was on the call. Go and have yourselves a wonderful day, evening, wherever you are in the world. As I mentioned, reach out to me if you need to get the link, and we'll send you and get you in there. As I said, it's free, so there's nothing we can sell to you. Have yourselves a fantastic time. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your energy, and I will see you all next week.
Thank you, everybody. See you guys in a minute.